Yankuba Minteh faces former club as Newcastle host Brighton. All eyes will be on Yankuba Minteh this afternoon as he lines up against Newcastle United, the club he never played a single game for at St. James's Park. Minteh was signed from OB in Denmark in the summer of 2023 for around £6.5 million, but was immediately loaned out to Feyenoord for the season without making a first-team appearance. Less than a year later, with Newcastle on the verge of a PSR breach, he was sold to Brighton for £35 million, still without having featured for the Magpies. Given Newcastle's current squad limitations, Jacob Murphy remains their only specialist right-sided forward. It's reasonable to assume that Minteh would have been ahead of him in the pecking order had he stayed. However, Murphy, who starts on the bench today, has matched Minteh's goal tally this season and even has more assists. Herzler on Brighton's FA Cup chances. Brighton boss Fabian Herzler acknowledges the opportunity his team has in an FA Cup tournament that has already produced several shock results this season. When fewer top clubs remain in the competition, the chance increases. But at the same time, we all know that the cups have their own rules, their own unpredictability. This season has already proven that with plenty of crazy results. Newcastle's selection calls. Isak and Joelinton return, Bruno benched. One of the biggest talking points ahead of this clash is the return of Alexander Isak to the starting lineup. The Swedish striker missed the midweek defeat to Liverpool with what was described as a slight groin issue, but sources suggest Eddie Howe also wanted to keep him out of sight from Liverpool's defense ahead of their upcoming Carabao Cup final. Isak is immediately restored to the 11, joined by Joelinton, who also returns after injury. Their inclusions signal Howe's intent to focus on this fixture, ensuring his strongest side is available despite the looming Wembley showdown. Another major call is Bruno Guimarães' omission, the first time this season he has been left out of a game of this magnitude. The Brazilian's recent dip in form has given Howe a reason to hand Lewis Miley a starting role. However, injury concerns persist, with Lewis Hall missing entirely from the squad due to an ankle problem. He is set to see a specialist next week, a situation that will concern England manager Thomas Tuchel, who is preparing for his first match in charge of the national team. Analyzing the lineups, Howe's decision to start Isak and Joelinton is a strong statement, reinforcing the need to focus on today's match rather than looking ahead to Liverpool at Wembley. Young Lewis Miley gets a chance in midfield, furthering comparisons to Steven Gerrard, while Kieran Trippier shifts to left back to accommodate Tino Livramento on the right. For Brighton, Danny Welbeck, who scored the winner against Bournemouth, starts on the bench, with Jack Hinchelwood replacing Diego Gomez as Herzler's only change. With both teams making bold selection decisions, this promises to be a fascinating FA Cup showdown at St. James's Park.